Hi, everyone, and welcome to the episode that used to be called Kit Car Talk with Street Rod Jim and is now called Restoration Talk with Street Rod Jim. So it's been a little bit. I've missed a few videos, and I've been kind of taking a break from things longer than you know from YouTube, and I've been enjoying it. So it's made me a little bit indifferent on finishing my project. I don't want to get used to that, but I've been really enjoying a little bit of time off. So not sure exactly how that is going to play out, but I do have things in motion. I do have the engine down at the engine shop, and it's been there for a while, and it just kind of stalled out because I was waiting on the engine guy, and I didn't really understand his personality and how to get things to roll the way that they needed to. I'm a very dot my I's, cross my T's type of guy. I hand you the ball, I expect you to hand it back to me, and that's just not how he works. And so, I got super busy at work, and so, when I handed the ball, I just expected stuff to get done. It wasn't getting done. And that even includes like estimates. I'm not getting estimates or anything. And still, in fact, to this day, I don't have estimates. But work has already started. So it's a little weird. But the one thing I did do is I did order the high performance head for the 240 engine. The other thing that is, and that is actually made it to the machine shop. So that is fully in. And that was kind of a key part that we are waiting for to move forward, make sure that we get the right pistons and stuff. So where we are with that is I bought a 300 crank. Now it's a 240 engine with a 240 crank, 240 rods, which are longer than 300 rods. If you take the 240 rods, you repin them or whatever to make it work, and you put those longer rods on a 300 crank, which has a longer stroke, and now you just stroked your engine. But when you do that, you can't put stock pistons in it. You have to put a shorter pistons so you're not knocking the top there. And I don't know all the specifics of all that, but I'm kind of giving you the layman's version of it. And it just gives you a, more horsepower in the engine than you had before. Even more than a 300 by itself stock. So that's what we're doing. Now the worst part of that engine is the head. It's pretty not open. It's not structurally sound to open it up. They crack a lot, things like that. And there's a lot of nuances like, only, route out the top half, but don't touch the floor because that will cause, stuff that's way beyond my pay grade. And I was like, screw it. I'm just, spend all this money to get like 5% results. I'll just frickin' buy a new head that's performance made, that's structurally sound, and it's not going to crack. That's pre-made, ready to go, and you just slap it on and, get the builder to put it all together. Now, originally, and this is years ago, I was thinking that I'm going to do the same thing I did with the LS, and I was just going to have the machine shop prepare everything, and then I was going to build it myself. And in this situation, there's no high performance books on this engine, which I find very bizarre because people drag race with these engines and they win races with these engines. But there's no high performance books. There's no how-tos. There's no, this is the torque rating. You need to put this bolt to, none of that exists in a form that I could do it at my house. And I'm like, and it's like, I don't know, $600 to have them put the engine together. It's like, for $600, go for it. I don't need to worry about it. And I'm starting to feel a little bit more of that kind of stuff where it's just like, instead of me pioneering something or learning it for the first time, why don't I just hire someone to like bust this out for me and we can move on a week later instead of 4 months later. So there's that side of it happening. The other side of it, which I think I mentioned before, is due to circumstances outside of my control, some of my businesses have taken a hit. And so the money's been a little bit tight when it comes to the restoration project. And so part of my break has been well, I actually got COVID, right? So COVID, like I was in the middle of spring, I was doing all this stuff, I was, getting stuff done. And then I just got like, sideswiped and laid out. And luckily it wasn't as bad as the first time back in like, I don't know, 2020, 2021 when I got it. Milder version, or the drugs they have now are better or whatever. And I will say that. I think it's Paxlovid or something like that. It works. Like it was working within 2 hours. Like it was a big difference. Of course, there's other things like ivermectin and things that you could use. But anyways, back to the story. That kind of just slapped me off my focus. My focus was here, and then it was like boom, and then it just really rocked me. Not not the sickness itself or whatever, it was pretty mild, but it just took me out to where it was like I was on this just roller coaster, or not roller coaster. The best way to put it is like there's two walls on the side and a train coming from behind you, and you're just running. And it's whether it's doing my business or restoring the van or filming videos or editing videos or what, like it's just go, 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 go. And there's no looking back, because if you stop, you're just going to get ran over. And that's kind of how the last 5 years of my life has been. It's just been like, go. And so when I got taken out and it was like a forced arrest, if you will, it was like, kind of like this. Kind of like not, killing myself all the time, like just busting it out. And you start thinking about what's important in life and things like that. And I just haven't gotten back to it. Now, I have been talking to the engine shop. I did buy the head, but I haven't physically done anything for a little bit. And it's been nice. So you probably don't want to hear that, but it's been nice. So it's been an interesting process right now. And I've been working with a company, a guy, an author that consults billion-dollar companies and stuff, trying to figure out how for me to move forward. And along with that and some other research, there's things like, for instance, your productivity rate or your ability to move forward is based on what you choose not to do. And these are kind of profound statements. And, here I am, and I got 3-4 businesses going on, which I run by myself. Street Rod Gym was kind of a business. It was kind of like a long-term goal of like, well, hey, maybe when I retire, this will be working well enough that it will pay for my restoration projects. But that hasn't really worked out. Once the kit car kind of dropped off and that was finished, the views on the van hasn't been that great. And that could be possibility just because of all I'm doing is restoring and painting and restoring and painting and restoring and painting parts. Like, that might not be the most awesome part of the project. I think the awesome part of the project is when I go to take the carcass, if you will, and start working on that and actually building it back up. Then I think the views will come back. But if you have suggestions on any of that stuff of what you'd like to see different or anything, or maybe why those views aren't coming in, that'd be great. And another reason is I'm spread in 4 different areas instead of just focusing on this. That there's truth to that also. So this kind of philosophy came through, and one of the things that I was watching the other day was like, well, imagine you have 4 ladders and you got 1 rung on each ladder, and you're trying to get over the wall, which is, moving forward in life or getting your business to work or whatever. And, if you take 3 rungs from the other ladders and you put it on the 4th ladder, now you got 4 rungs and you could get over. And I was like, yeah, no, sure. No shit, So I watched this video again. It was 30 minutes, a lot of stuff. And the second time when I was listening through it, I was like, oh, that's business 1, that's business 2, that's business 3, that's Street Rod Gym, and I was like, oh man, this is brutal, because that's what I feel like. I'm not going anywhere because I'm spread out, 1-man army doing all this stuff. So it's interesting. I'm going through kind of like a whole figure it out, triage certain things, and move forward on certain things. So that's kind of what's going on my side of things. So I'm hoping, the engine will get done in the next 2 months. It's not really a priority because I got plenty of work in front of me to go, but at least all the parts are there and he could figure out the pistons and he could build it. And I just need to talk to him about how we're going to paint this. Because what I'm worried about is I could go down there and paint it in his shop and they could bake it, if you will. And then when I go to transport it back, it's going to get all jacked up. And then if he brings it, since he's building it, and he brings it back all built, I'd rather paint it when it's not built to get it fully painted instead of painting over bolts and weird stuff. I don't think I have a choice at this point. So that's kind of where that's at. So on the money side of things, so as you know, about a year or so ago, I bought a awesome full aluminum 24-foot fully enclosed hatch trailer to where I could open up my door and hop out the side hatch. And the trailer is amazing. In fact, it was like a childhood dream of mine to always have, a trailer for whether it was ATVs or cars or whatever. And it was awesome. However, my whole idea of making a show car and popping in this trailer and driving all over, California and going to Huntington Beach with the Factory 5 family and all that stuff, I just didn't really like it. It really was boring to me, just sitting there next to your car. I enjoyed the conversation when it happened, but it didn't always happen. And so, and mainly this is Tucson, Arizona, Scottsdale. I felt, because I kind of went into it thinking competition wise, let's go kick ass. And I felt that even, what is it? The Good Guys car show, which there's 12 of them in the United States. It's the biggest car show organization. I just thought it was ran horribly and the information wasn't correct. And for newbies like me getting into it, they just weren't explicit about stuff. It's almost like you had to do it 5 years and then you figure it out and then it's well, why don't you just tell us up front so we know what's going on? So I just felt that's not the way I like to do things. I like to be fully informed. I like context. And when a guy who just bought a car that is mediocre, like an MG or something like that, no offense to MG owners, but okay, all he did was buy the car and then he's winning an award. And here I put 4 years and, $25,000 into a paint job and no one even looks at the car. And you're just like, what the hell is this? No, this doesn't work for me. It does not compute. I might as well just go buy a car and, try to enter to win some stuff. So it just didn't work for me. So that all being said, I sold my trailer and it was kind of nice in the sense that getting that influx of money back because it was in the $16,000 range. Those are normally, when you buy a full aluminum trailer that big, they're in the 30 and up. You start putting cabinets and all that stuff and you're talking $45,000. This didn't have cabinets or anything. And it was used and I had a few dings and stuff like that, but that was a nice influx of cash that worked out really well. It kind of put me back on my feet again. And I'm, putting some of that money aside to specifically go towards this restoration. So that is, we'll say funded again. So I want to talk about the actual carcass, moving on with the chassis. It's a unibody, right? So it's all built in. So originally I didn't want to have it blasted and I was looking for other ways. I wanted to dip it. Well, there's no tanks in Arizona that are big enough to dip this vehicle. Okay. So that's out. So then I was going to grind it down myself and I don't have a place to do that because I could take it to Greg's, but it's a lot of work, right? And then all the stuff I can't get to with the grinder, then you're going to have to use the chemicals, right? And then, which would work. That's fine. It'd be economical. Might take me, I don't know how long it would take. again, I'm not retired. So like I'm working full time, and then this would be at nights or on weekends. And so I was like, I don't want to do that. And if I did, let's say, do a full chemical thing on that much square footage, you're talking, I don't know, $1,500 worth of chemicals, plus the whole wearing a mask, all that kind of stuff, because it's the harshest chemicals you could have. No. And so then I started looking into the laser stuff, because if you haven't seen the laser stuff, it's freaking amazing. You could do laser welding, laser cutting, and laser removal, rust, paint. And so I was dealing with a company in China, and having a little bit of problem communicating, but not too bad. And I said, hey, is this going to take away the Bondo? Is it going to take away body filler? And they didn't understand what I was asking. And they're like, send us an example of what you're talking about. So I sent them a video, and they replied back finally, and they're like, no, it's not going to do that. It will do the paint, but it won't take that out. Well, when I started testing on the vehicle and seeing how much filler is already on the vehicle, it doesn't matter whether I get this thing blasted or not, because it's not straight to begin with anyways. Like, there's just waves everywhere. And so at this point, I don't care. And I feel like a little bit of my indifference at this point. Like, I want to finish the project and I want it to be cool. But, this isn't a concours taking it to Monterey in California or whatever restoration. This is just making a cool hot rod. So, I don't want to put 25 grand into a paint job, and I don't want to go crazy with it. And at the same time, it has so much Bondo and stuff like that in it to begin with that it doesn't matter, and it'll need to be blasted off anyway. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and that's something that I could drop off and pick it up in a day, and it's finished, and I'm not spending 3 weeks and pissing off the neighbors, or having to go to Greg's, which is on the opposite side of town. And we're talking logistics of life here. So I made that decision. When will that happen? I don't know. I haven't really lifted a finger in a bit to move forward on any of that. I'm kind of like stuck right now with, and this was true with the kit car, where I just don't want to do it 6 times. Build it, take it apart, build it, take it apart, build it, take it apart, paint it, put it together, hopefully don't take it apart. I don't want to go through that process. And so I still have all the door handles that work in the vehicle. I'm going to need to take all that stuff out. And the way this vehicle works with aligning the doors, you can't paint it and align the doors later, because you have to caulk in, if you will, with body filler, these big gaping holes, and then paint over that. So you have to get the doors aligned. And so now we're talking, take it apart, put it back together, so I don't know. It's that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. And I'm trying to make it as efficient as possible, but I don't think there's any way around it, and I just need to do stuff. So that's what's going on there. So when it comes to, back to the channel itself, what's been interesting is once I reached 15,000 subscribers, I started getting a lot of what I'll call bullshit sponsorships. Talk about this iPhone holder or some kind of gizmo, whatever, for your car. It's like, well, I don't have a radio in my car. Obviously, you don't watch the channel. I'm not an iPhone user, so obviously you don't watch the channel. Things like that. And it's like, oh, you could do all this work for us, and then we'll let you keep the item for free that I don't care about. And so that was interesting. But the 20,000 subscribers, or almost 22,000 subscribers I have right now, doesn't actually equate to views. So I do need to get the viewership up. But again, that might be a stylistic change on how I do my videos. It might be once a month putting out a video, and they're just better videos instead of filling an algorithm. I'm not really sure yet. And again, would love to hear what you guys, some of you longtime viewers that enjoy this stuff and enjoy what I do, love to hear, from you how to make stuff maybe better for the long run. So, and again, as soon as I start working on the actual van itself, maybe instead of parts, maybe things will take off. So that's kind of where I'm at. And the 33 has actually been working out great ever since I did the battery change. It always starts. I'm just getting acclimated to like taking it out. In fact, tonight I'm going to a once a month nighttime car show, and more of a it's kind of a cars and coffee, but at night type thing. And so it's going to be fun to drive the car, and keep it going, if you will. The only last thing I need to do to it is I think the air conditioning's overfilled, so I gotta undo that, and that's been that way for a while. Well, since I put Freon in it, seemed to work for like a week or two, and then it didn't. And I just haven't had the time to dig into that, but I do have all the fittings and everything now to do it. So hopefully soon I'll get to that, and that's about it for now. So love to hear your comments, and have a great day. Hope life is working well for everybody, and we'll see you soon.